Taboo Talks. Hello. Welcome to Taboo Talks. Episode 13 today, actually. I think I wrote the wrong thing. It's not episode 12, it's episode 13. And I am Michelle Leong. I'm an artist. Well, I'm a live expressionist. And I express my love of life on canvas in terms of colors and exploring many different topics that are related and closely related to life, including taboo topics. So last week, I think I talked about marriage and the definition of marriage and what is marriage and what is open marriage and beyond. Who defines what marriage is? Why do we stick to those definitions? Today, I really kind of wanted to explore the kind of the flip side of it, divorce, right? I think one of the things like that, biggest thing that bugs me till now is, why is life so black and white, right? Why is it a matter of marriage? Get married, and then if you don't like each other along the way, then get divorced and separated. Why must it be binary? It's just either this or that. Who says that? Yes, religion. Yes, I know. But, in terms of society and humanity, in terms of relationship between two people, because the marriage is really between the two people, or the relationship, why do we have to come down to either stay married or we'll just get a divorce, right? So this is a kind of like a big topic that I have been exploring quite a bit, just in terms of like for myself and talking to people and friends and asking what that means to them and everyone else. But today, I really wanted to explore what it means to be divorced. I don't personally know what it means. I've not been divorced yet. So I don't really know what one goes through, in a divorce. How does one feel? In certain cultures, marriage... Hello, Amreen! Welcome. In certain cultures, marriage isn't just between two people, but rather two families. Oh, yes, that's very true. It is between two families, or more, actually. Like the grandmother and the cousins and everyone else. There's like a whole society and village behind the marriage, right? So it is more than just the two people. I'm really talking about the connection between the two human beings. But yes, I can see how it's intertwined. But coming back to divorce... So yes, because I don't know what it's like to be a divorcee and what goes on for someone who's divorced, and it is a taboo, still a very big taboo in many countries and societies. I think people who come from the Western world or like in Europe or I don't know, Australia, New Zealand, maybe it's not a big thing, but I can definitely say it is still a big deal for, at least in my culture, the Malaysian Chinese culture. It's not as simple, and definitely in many other Asian cultures, it's a big taboo. That word in itself is so loaded. So because the person has to, right, okay, I decided to ask a friend who is a divorcee what it's like for her to have gone through that process, that journey, and for different reasons she has to remain anonymous, so I couldn't bring her onto Facebook Live to discuss this, but I asked her some questions and I really wanted to share them, just really to put this out there. And I really want to know, have you encountered any of these questions for yourself? What was it like for you to have gone through your divorce? So I asked 3 questions, right? The first question, what is it like to be divorced? What's it like? I don't know what it's like, because when I go anywhere, they just assume you're Mrs. So-and-so. Well, I'm still Michelle Leong. I haven't, I haven't changed my surname or my name for that reason to my husband's or my partner's. But in different cultures, some people change their names completely on their identity, on their passport, on their birth certificates, everything. It's a complete change of identity. And then when they go through divorce, it's almost like they've lost a sense of themselves. Who are they? Because all of a sudden, you don't have this identity anymore. Your name becomes whatever you were born with or pre-marriage. And that can be a huge shift. So her answer was, well, when it was happening, I felt broken, as if I have failed myself somehow. I also felt a lot of shame. It could have been the cultural baggage that I was carrying, all the conditioning that happened while growing up in my home country, where divorce was viewed as a bad thing. And especially children who came from divorced families were seen as broken people, or perceived as broken people. So there's that whole stigma and taboo and shame around not just the divorcee, and in my perspective, a lot more on the woman than the man, if I can put this out there, and definitely on the children as well. I know growing up, I was told, children from divorced families are broken. What is that? Now, after years of unpacking and healing, I am the happiest I have ever been, and I feel very privileged where I could exercise my right. Well, that's the other thing, right? In certain countries, women can't even exercise their rights. They can't speak up. That, abuse and all the different forms of abuse and that goes on behind closed doors, and women wanting out, they don't have the right. So yes, I think in the modern society, modern world, we are very lucky to have that right and be able to exercise it. So yes, I am the happiest I have ever been, and I feel very privileged where I could exercise my right and get a divorce. That's amazing. So I see it as, there was a lot of shame, there was baggage, there was a lot of uncertainty, and having gone through a lot of effort and years and time to heal, she's now the happiest as she has ever been. So then I asked the second question, what stigma did you feel, if any, about being a divorcee? From men? Stigma from men? Do men perceive divorced women differently compared to married women or single, unmarried, non-divorced women? Is there a difference? Should there be a difference? Why should there be a difference? Is it different? And I know for sure women are the worst. Women are worse than men when it comes to shaming other women. And so the question was, what stigma did you feel from men as well as women? Is it different? And her answer, to be honest, I don't feel stigmatized being a divorced female in Singapore. But had I been back in my home country, it would have been a very different story. There would be a lot of judgment from women and men. So true. It's again very cultural, and depends on where you are. May not be a big deal to you, and you're probably asking me, why is this a taboo topic? But it is a real issue or topic in many different cultures, especially for me personally, in the Asian society, in the Asian culture. It's still a big thing. It's not so common to just get a divorce. I often get told, well, just grin and bear it. Just suck it up as a woman. Like, women are to be seen in the kitchen anyway. So just put up with it, whatever your husband, is doing. And flip side as well. I'm not just saying it's one side, it's just the women are the victims. There are cases where, the men are the victims. So, but we're not focusing on that today. The third question I asked was last. What do you wish you'd have known about going down the divorce route before going through it? That isn't her answer. That it isn't something to be ashamed of. So she wishes that she would have known that the divorce route isn't something to be ashamed of, that it is the right of any individual. If a relationship doesn't serve their higher self, then it is absolutely okay to part ways. But before parting ways, if both parties are willing to work on themselves and work on the relationship as a collective, perhaps things can be salvaged. relationships doesn't have to be so black and white. I wish more couples were open to looking and exploring all the gray that can exist in a relationship. Thank you. Amen to that. Thank you, sister, for this, for your answers. I am just so grateful. Yes, that last bit really speaks to me. I've been personally married for over 10 years now. I think it's our 11th year of marriage, maybe 12. Shit, I've lost count. 11th year. We've been together for about close to 14 years all in total. And I think for people who have been together for at least that number of years, if not more, you start to realize that, there are just a lot of things that are just not so black and white. And you need to keep evolving. The relationship needs to keep evolving. Otherwise, it will be really binary, because it's either going to be a yes or no, is it going to work or not? And we change as people with experience, with years, with children, with life challenges, we change. So why can't the relationship dynamics change? That's my fundamental question. Why is it down to marriage is this, you either take it or not, and then otherwise then we'll have a divorce and separate and go our separate ways? Well, does it really have to be that way? Amreen, thank you for having this very important conversation, much needed. Aw, you're welcome. We were told just compromise. Yes, I was told as I was growing up as a woman, just compromise. Just, there is a word in Chinese, it's called yan in Cantonese or ren in Mandarin. It means tolerate. And that word tolerate is a huge word in the Chinese culture. And you see it in homes quite a lot. And it's almost like a sense of pride that's attached to it. Just tolerate. It's a great virtue to have. But I feel women have tolerated for a long time. And it's not about rebelling. It's not about fighting back. It's not. It's about speaking up for ourselves, speaking our truth, having a conversation. To me, that's what it's about. It's not about turning the tables or fighting. It's not, because to me that's very aggressive. We women are more feminine, and the feminine way is to have a conversation, to be more creative. And I think if we could approach the world in our lives with more of that, with love, compassion towards ourselves and towards others, especially our partners, then I think the world would be so much more grey than just black or white. That's my little wisdom for today. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Amreen, for dialing in and sharing your thoughts and appreciation. Thank you. I hope this was a relevant topic, or a useful topic for you and time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. If you have any other thoughts or opinions about this, I'd love to hear from you. Ping me, you know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, Michelle Leong Art, or Facebook, or just ping me on Messenger or DM me. I'd love to have a chat. Thank you, and I will see you soon next week on Taboo Talks. Bye.